Black folk, damn our feelings. At this point in the game, damn our feelings. It's about us fixing our situation. So you're either gonna be stuck in your feelings and you want somebody to make you feel fantastic, or you want the information so we can use the information to change our situation. You choose. What's going on, family? I'm just here to remind you that you can get yourself a copy of my new book, On the Shoulders of Giants, Volume 4, The Caribbean, by visiting my website, www.ontheshoulders1.com, and help support me as I continue on my mission to make sure that my people have our information, even though, there are many people trying to stop us from learning our history. But hey, we can teach ourselves, and one of the tools we can use is my new book, On the Shoulders of Giants, Volume 4, The Caribbean. Remember, visit my website, www.ontheshoulders1.com, to get your copy, and I appreciate your support. Bam! We are back. Welcome back to the On the Shoulders of Giants YouTube channel. Joseph Ward, Patrick Irvin. So you already know that means Breakdown Friday. We're here to take the information from our master teachers, listen to it, understand it, and break it down and see how we can use this information to help ourselves and improve our situation. What's the point of just consuming information? I'm sure our master teachers didn't put in all the work for us just to consume the information. So we're here to spark ideas and spark actions to using the information that our master teachers so graciously left us. What it is, Patrick.
What it do?
Hey, be robotic, my brother. Be robotic. Hey, man, tell them about your book real quick. Tell them about your book. Yeah, we do this
All right,
every
I'll tell
week.
them about the gun line, bro. I'll tell them about
There
the
you
gun
go.
line. So the book is The Chasm. It's a book written to, well, at the time it was written to close the growing divide between black men and black women in America before it got to be what it has currently become.
Catastrophic.
Uh so now though there's still good information in there about the history of the divide, and as well as solutions that we can utilize to close the divide. The solutions aren't quick, sexy solutions. They are solutions that are going to require some work, some effort, and some energy. But there are solutions, and it's a conversation starter. It's not meant to make. It's not meant to make you an expert. It's meant to give you a level of information where you can begin to research and begin to have dialogue. So that's The
Yep.
Chasm. You can get it on Amazon. The Chasm by Patrick Irvin, and it'll look like it looks.
There you go. One more look. Bam. And thank you to all the supporters on the Shows of Giants. Thank you to all the people on my email list. If you want to join my email list, just go to my website, www.ontheshoulders1.com. You'll see the email list pop up. You can sign up for the email list. All of my Patreons, all my patrons, thank you to all my patrons. I really appreciate you all, everybody who supports me. Shabazz, shout out to Shabazz. I appreciate all the support. Jacob, my brother, all my people who support me, Sagawa, everybody who support me. Thank you, thank you, thank you, because you all are helping this channel grow. You all are helping me be able to put back into the business and make it happen. So thank you, thank you, thank you. So today we break it down. One of my favorite historians, Dr. Runoko Rashidi, and the topic is a lack of evidence. The clip is not that long, so if the clip not that long, we're gonna watch the clip and then we're going to come back with the breakdown. So let's do this.
See in our community right now is to claim that Africans did this and Africans did that. And I think that sometimes the claims that we make are not substantiated by the evidence. And it makes us look foolish when we really examine it. I'm very big on that we don't have to make stuff up and embellish. That Africans did so many fantastic things that we can stand on our own record. And when you look at it like that, it doesn't seem so remarkable. It doesn't seem so outlandish. But when you make fantastic claims and you say that the Olmec civilization was African or the Mayan civilization was African, people don't take you seriously. And I don't take people seriously. For example, there's a brother going about right now saying that Jerusalem was in America. Now, he has a very popular book. But when you make claims like it's ridiculous, or people who are saying that that Africans interacted with extraterrestrials or that Africans came from other planets. And things like that are silly. And I don't think we need to belittle our history with nonsense like
Yeah, I totally agree. I 100%, I tell you N%, I 100% agree and like emphatically agree because I've seen too many times where one of our brothers or sisters are in a conversation or a debate with either another black person or a non-black person, and they think they're winning. They really believe that they're giving factual information. They believe that they're giving their business to the person, but they're actually getting drug because they are only repeating things that they heard others say, and they're only repeating things that they've never even researched themselves with no evidence. And like Dr. Rashid says, that makes us look foolish. We don't have to make stuff up because we already have evidence and information that we already have. So that's the first thought cut in my head when I hear that. What about you?
I mean, that was one smooth stream of consciousness. I'm kind of like, I don't even know that we need to play it back to break it down because it was so streamlined and so direct and right to the point. Like, we hear these fantastic, and this is, I'm be honest, I've been called a coon and everything else on numerous occasions for pushing back on these fantastical
Yeah.
ideas.
Yeah.
And my standpoint has always been exactly what Dr. Rashidi articulated. Our history is impressive enough.
Yes.
If you gotta lie about it, if you gotta stretch it, if you just feel like you gotta embellish or you gotta add to it, then you don't respect it.
Intellectual laziness is the phrase that come to my mind, and
Absolutely.
you say it a lot. You were the first person that I really heard use the phrase in the way that we're using it now, intellectual laziness. But over the years and just encountering people and just listening to people and experiencing different things, people really have no interest in finding the evidence or the proof to back up what they're saying. It's just emotion, emotion, emotion. And this is true because I saw this in the video. You remember years back, maybe over 10 years back, because there was a shift. There was a time when, at least when you ask somebody to provide you with evidence, they would share some articles or a link to some kind of information.
Yeah.
And then there was a shift to people just sharing links to YouTube videos. And they're
Mm-hmm.
saying, hey, this person in this YouTube video and what they're saying, even though I have no idea who this person is, even
Mm-hmm.
though I've never researched this information, I'm going off what this video says, and this is my evidence. But then I take the extra step. I'm watching the video, I'm writing down notes of what the person in the video was saying, and I'm going to research it. And the research that I find is the opposite of what this person is saying. An example, um, and this is not historical, but it's just an example of the intellectual laziness that Black people have. I was reading an article that was talking about Black women being uh, the uh, the most educated. It was saying
Mm-hmm.
Black women have more graduate degrees and more degrees than anybody else, and they linked the study what that they were citing or they thought they were citing. They linked the study. All you had to do is go click on the study. When you click on the link of the study doesn't agree with anything that was in the article. It disproves everything the article was saying.
Mm-hmm.
But how many? So the person who put the article together, you clearly didn't read. You clearly didn't read, and if you read it, your job was just to spin this story. And then other people who read the article, did they actually click on the link and go look at the
Mm-mm.
information? And that's our problem. That's why that's one of the reasons why we're in the situation that we're in, because we're intellectually lazy. We
Yeah.
got to get over that.
I mean, I'm thinking now about all of the different, because that was one. I did a whole show back when I was doing lessons from the screen on that. And then you
Hmm.
had I've gotten into to discussions with people and decided to just leave the discussion, have somebody tell me that same stuff that makes black people black is what makes space black. And that's why we're connected to space and to nature, is because we wear the universe on our skin. And they believed it 100%. And it's stuff like that that has people taking the pro-black community as a joke, the
Right.
conscious community
Right.
as a joke. Like,
Right.
because even though I don't know, speaking for the lay black person, the layman, I don't know the history as well as a historian or somebody like that. I know foolishness when I hear it,
Right.
and I'm not going to entertain any sort of information, factual or not, that comes out of the mouth of somebody that I know spits foolishness.
What one of the things now is in my opinion, I think a lot of black people are just making up stories of the origins of black people in America based off of narratives that they have heard, but they've never really researched these things. And there's some people, their sources are like the Bible.
Hmm.
It's not a history book. It's not a history book. There's a book that has some history in it. It's not a history book. So that can't be your exact source because we've all read this book. We've all read this book. And there's nothing in this book that's factual evidence to prove what you're saying. We, as of right now, we have evidence to show that black people were in America before the Europeans. We don't have, I don't know anybody who has enough information to accurately say how many black people were here or this or that. We know black people were here before the transatlantic slave trade, and we know black people came during the transatlantic slave trade. But it's a lot of people who are just making a lot of just fantastical claims about our origins and things. But and I'm not saying you're wrong, but I am saying you haven't provided me with any evidence to back up what you're saying, to prove what you're saying.
I'm saying you're wrong. If you're saying the transatlantic slave trade didn't happen,
Yeah, you wrong. If you're saying that, you wrong.
yeah, I'm saying you're wrong. If you're making any grand statements about anything without any real credible evidence, you're wrong. And credible evidence isn't irrefutable. I mean, it could be a missing piece of the puzzle that could have us looking at things that we now believe to be fact differently 20, 30, 40 years from now. But based off the information we have right now, that's what we got to go on. And if you're presenting theories with no information, you're wrong. Even if the theory itself isn't wrong, you're wrong for presenting it without information as if it's fact.
And all you have to do is take your time and go look for as much information as possible to support your claim before you open your mouth in public and be loud and wrong. Because black people, we have a habit of going into public and being loud and wrong. And because we believe what we say, everybody else is crazy. Everybody else is this and everybody else is that. But you're the common denominator.
Yeah, we need to be honest. I mean, one of the biggest problems I see that comes from this idea of role shading Black history is that it prevents us from being culturally accountable.
Yeah.
Like, it prevents us from being able to sit back and look and analyze and see we went wrong here because we
Right.
took these steps.
Right. Right.
So this is one of the reasons why white supremacy continues, it exists, and it doesn't really have to do much to maintain itself, because we refuse to honestly look at our history and say, okay, as a group, we made a mistake right here. That's
Mm-hmm.
not to say we gonna blame those people or attack those historical figures. They did the best they could with the information they have available, but we shit on their legacy and their names when we take the experiences that they've acquired and we don't utilize them to take it a step further. That means learning from them and recognizing what they did
Right.
right and what they did wrong.
And being honest. Dr. Rashidi, it's a clip out of him saying himself that um if white supremacy ended today, if white people left the planet, left America today, white supremacy would still continue because black people would
Hmm.
still practice it.
Absolutely.
It's ingrained in how we operate. It's just it it's so a part of who we are. It's ridiculous. And a lot of people don't think that's what it is because in their mind, what they tell themselves, well, I don't do this and I don't do that, so I can't be like white supremacy. But in the overall scheme, look at the outcomes we're having. Look at the outcomes you're having. Anytime you do something destructive to yourself and anybody else that's of your same race as you are aiding white supremacy.
But that goes into the quote he was just saying about people fantasizing about black
Yep.
history.
Yep.
It prevents them from really even understanding what white supremacy is.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and then there's so many incongruencies and conflicts with the narratives that are presented. For instance, if white people are superior to black people in every way, culturally, physically, genetically, whatever, how the hell did we end up low man on a totem pole? It don't make sense.
Well, because it's I saw Tariq Nasheed in a debate with a woman, and they were talking about because he and I see it in the comments here. A lot of people say they don't believe in white supremacy, and they don't like when somebody says white supremacy. And I'm like, but y'all acting as if they didn't dominate us. That's supremacy. That's exactly what why are we acting like we didn't what happened to us didn't happen to us. It happened to us. The only way to get to a point where we start to reverse this thing is to be honest. Guess what? They are supreme to us now because of the way we a lot of things we are doing to ourselves. We're doing it to ourselves. That's why they're in a more dominant position in this country and in this world than we are. And you can't say they're not, but we have to be honest about what's going on. And guess what? There's evidence to back this up. Look at our global position. Look at the disparities that we have as Black people in America. We're at the bottom of most lists.
Well, I mean, look, could we have the same conversation when we talk about people that come and say race is a social construct, as if that means that it's not real.
Right. That still affects people's real life.
Right.
You know how many people are dead because of this social construct?
So it doesn't matter whether or not, matter of fact, for those of you that call yourselves scientists or social scientists and sociology, they actually study social constructs with the understanding that it is in fact real. If people believe that something is real, then it's real. That's all it takes to make it real. But to
And they
go back
act
to
on it.
this, to go back to this thing about supremacy, I looked it up, and that go it builds into it, right? It doesn't matter if you like it or not.
Right.
Is it real or not? Supremacy, the state or condition of being superior to all others in authority, power, or status.
Sound about right to me.
Sorry, my phone was ringing.
It's
Don't
all
that
good.
sound like
That sound
don't,
like where we are.
right? Like
But that
authority, power, or status. Well, white people are superior to black people in authority, power, and status. They got the trifecta.
but to acknowledge that this is where we are is not it's not saying we have to stay here. Just saying
Right.
this is where we are. Okay. Now we can move forward. Now, one of the things, because it builds back to the breakdown that we did on Robin Walker. And if you haven't seen that, go check that one out. And Dr. Robin Walker is an amazing historian. But we're talking about knowledge of self. It's going to be difficult for us to properly to acquire the proper knowledge of self and properly use that knowledge of self if if we're collecting information that's not true, if we're collecting fantastic tales, if we're collecting information that we can't find evidence to back up, right? Because we're going to be building this false bravado, this false idea of who we are. It's kind of, you remember that meme that was out there? and the meme was like, hurricanes are the within the hurricanes are the souls of all the slaves who were killed in the transatlantic slave trade. And the gist was as if this is what hurricanes are, as if hurricanes didn't exist before 1492.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw that meme shared widely, just widely. And it's like, are you all really believe this? You all really believe that hurricanes didn't happen before 1492, and hurricanes that happen now are the spirits of the people who were killed or who committed ritual suicide during the transatlantic slave trade? Like, you really believe that? Like, so hurricanes didn't happen before 1492.
Well, my view with the hurricane post, because I saw a couple. One was what you just said. Another one was hurricanes are the rage of black women. Um, and my thing was always, that's real interesting to take this view. Hurricanes, which primarily affect the South, states that are heavy with black people, are further doing more damage, primarily to black people, because they mad at white people. I mean,
But once again, it's people just saying stuff and sharing stuff, because we had the jokes for a while that if it's on the meme, then it got to be real,
oh
because
yeah,
people were,
absolutely.
and people still are, but they were literally taking memes seriously. I was scrolling through TikTok, and this guy was I forgot the exact topic that he was talking about, but he was giving information, and he had the graphic, how to do the green screen. He had the information in the
Mm-hmm.
background. So I went and looked it up. And when I went and looked up the information, he was spewing information that was trying to say it was relevant now to the information that whatever this is he was going over came out in 1981. And then when you wouldn't go look at the statistics from 1981 from what he was saying to 2022, because I believe it was earlier this year, it was totally different. It was what he was saying was totally irrelevant to what was going on to now, because he's spewing stats from 1981. And all he had to do was go look it up instead of just
Mm-hmm.
seeing that, putting it up, and just start talking. But people do that all the time. They just turn these cameras on and start talking. It's got to back up the information.
Yeah.
I mean, like, so because I know when I do my post and everything on here, I put if you go to my website and you look at the actual post, I put my sources.
Mm-hmm.
I at least put the sources that I have. This is the evidence to back up what I'm saying. So can some of this be disproven? Probably so. But at least I have evidence to back up what I'm saying. Just go
Mm-hmm.
check out my sources. But that's one thing that's different than just saying, hey, I just throw something. I just say this. Let's just say black people are from Mars. And we just supposed to believe that black people just came from Mars to Earth one day. And we just supposed to believe that because you said it. That's not how this works.
Nope.
I mean, we got to do better. We have to be better intellectuals. We we
Absolutely.
we have to stop with all this bravado, this fake bravado that people don't even believe anyway. The world doesn't believe this bull and this facade that we put out, because the world knows exactly who we are. And the world see that we have we have no real results from all this talking that we're doing. We just be talking and it sound good. Like you said earlier, it sound good to people who don't know the information. It sound good to people because we talk about it all the time. Somebody will say something in a lecture, in a speech, or an interview or something. They'll say it because they know people won't go and look it up.
Yeah.
They know people won't go do their research. So pretty much now, somebody can say anything they want to, and the majority of the people who view that would not go look up the information.
Yeah. I mean, telling people to do your research has become a way of giving credibility to your information.
Right,
And
right,
people that create content know that. They know
right.
that I don't have to provide a source. All I got to do is confidently say, go look it up yourself. And people will think, well, why would he say that if it ain't true? It must be true.
Right.
And they'll run with it.
Right.
And I'm not
Nah.
saying people do that, but I am saying that it works in terms of, I'm not saying that people think that it must be true
Right.
because he said that, but I am saying that when people say that, I know for a fact that there's a group of people out there that won't do research simply because somebody said go do your research.
Right. Right. And look, that's the biggest thing from what we're saying here is we can see how being intellectually lazy is hurting us. It's literally hurting us because we can't build a solid foundation, a real foundation on lies and misinformation.
Mm-hmm.
We can't. We got to get past that. You have to do the research. Hey, yeah, it's 10 pages long. Read it.
Mm-hmm.
Read it the same way you'll read the celebrity news. Read it the same way you'll read any other thing that you're interested in. If you are so interested in Black history and learning about our history, because there's so much evidence, there's so many historians who put the time and the work in to provide evidence and information. Just go look it up. Just take the time to go look it up. There's plenty of books, plenty of articles, plenty of stuff. Just look it up. If we don't, we we have no we already winning the victim Olympics. If we don't educate ourselves properly, we have nobody else to blame but us. We have nobody else because we're at the point now to where on one hand we know white people when it comes to educating, especially educating our children, because it goes into this. On one hand, we know white people, we don't really trust white people to educate our children properly. We complain about the education that white people give our kids, but on the other hand, the adults are not willing to educate themselves or even put the right people who are educated in the space so we can educate our own. So we don't like the information that the white people giving us. We ain't really creating spaces for us to get our own information. If we do, we're peppering our people with misinformation.
Mm-hmm.
So who's to blame for that but us? Look, we ain't gonna keep beating this dead horse, but we got to get it together. We have to do our research. Dr. John Henry Clark said, read everything. Any type of historical information you can get your hands on, read it. Whether it's true or not, read it. And then if they should provide sources, go look at the sources and then cross-reference those sources with other sources, and so you can get as much evidence as possible. But don't just believe something somebody said because they said it in a nice way, or you like the way they said it, or they speak good or something like that. Is it really true? It ain't about, don't nobody look, Black folk, damn our feelings. At this point in the game, damn our feelings. It's about us fixing our situation. So you're either gonna be stuck in your feelings and you want somebody to make you feel fantastic, or you want the information so we can use the information to change our situation. You choose. We choose. Rather, I'm talking to me too. We choose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anything you want to add to this
Nah,
before we?
man. I mean, like I said, that was a smooth
Yeah, he got right to
stream
it.
of consciousness. Yeah, like it ain't a whole lot to.
Got right to it. But I'm because I was thinking, I was looking for this clip for a while and I found it. I was like, yes, because it needs to be said. It needs to be said. It needs to be said. We got to get off the bull and get back to reality. And I don't care about your feelings. It ain't about us making us feel good. It's about us actually being in a great situation, existing like we're supposed to exist, free of this bull. So it's on us. The ball is in our court. What we gonna do?
Absolutely, as always.
Yeah, I'm Joseph Ward. He's Patrick Irvin. This is Breakdown Friday. Thank you to everybody who keeps supporting us, who rocking with on the shows of Giants. We're gonna keep doing what we doing. Man, I'm working on some other stuff in the background that we're gonna have coming to you. So we got more content coming. So y'all stay tuned. Love y'all and make sure y'all catch this next video.